We have the first part of my interview with Shelby J coming at you right now. Hey everybody, welcome back to Prince's Friend. I'm your host, Prince's Friend. And if you've been around for a while, you all know how big a fan of Shelby J I am. If you don't know who she is, let me tell you a little bit about her. Shelby J is a singer, songwriter, social activist from Greensboro, North Carolina, and she's on a mission to spread positive messages through music, books, art, fitness training, live performances. These core messages being to inspire love and light. Shelby's performed with some of the greatest talent in recorded music history, having toured and recorded with her own band, Black Gypsy, Groove Theory, Mary J. Blige, Anthony Hamilton, D'Angelo, Santana, Larry Graham, and obviously, Prince. You've heard her on many a Prince track as well, from her co-lead on Chelsea Rogers to her voice being lent to many other tracks like Lay It Down, Future Soul Song, Colonized Mind, Mr. Goodnight, and most famously on stage with Prince at the 2007 Super Bowl. Shelby J recently founded her own company, Black Gypsy Music, and has released her debut album 10 on her own label, on her own terms. And today, she's here to talk to me, Prince's Friend, about her career, her years with Prince, her upcoming show at the Capri in April, and where the future leads. Let's get into that interview. Hey everybody, welcome back to Prince's Friend. I am your host, Prince's Friend, and I have a very cool and special interview for you guys today. I am honored to bring onto the show Shelby J. Thank you so much, Shelby J.
Thank you for having me.
Now, is it okay if that I call you Shelby, or should I call you Mrs. J? How should I refer to you?
You can call me Shelby.
Okay, awesome. I'm so like Shelby J. It just seems weird. Like,
yeah.
Anyway.
You good.
Well, but definitely thank you for the show. I know that you are in California. I'm in Florida. You're across the entire nation. And I know that you're getting ready for the Grammys that are tomorrow, right?
Yes, tomorrow. I'm so excited. And attending with my sister, Lynn, who's also my drummer. And we're so excited. It's tomorrow. So I can't wait.
I saw you talking on Facebook Live that this is actually your first time going to the Grammys. Is that right?
Yeah, we would do, after shows and stuff in LA at the house. Prince would be like, we got a lot of people coming back after the Grammys. We're going to jam. Okay. And so we would jam. We do that, especially times we were out there during, like the forum shows and stuff like that. We were there. But I never went to the ceremony, and I would watch it on TV and everything. I'm like, they'll be here soon to just let out. So they'll be on their way to the house, But I'm excited about going. And I love my dress. And I told somebody, I said, I kind of feel like Cinderella going to the ball. And I'm not afraid to let people know that, because I think that humility is really important. And I try to be transparent with folks. And when something means something to you, I watched the Grammys like everybody else from the time I was, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I would watch those shows and have the dreams about, being on stage and performing, which I will be, being nominated, accepting, but just being around that energy of all of that creativeness, from all of our genres, from everything, being in that room. I was like, what must that energy feel like? So I'm excited to be going to soak that up, and be with my sister. It's like, that's a win-win.
Definitely. And who are you wearing? Are you wearing a famous designer?
Well, she's gonna be famous. She's a Nigerian sister, and her name is Nike. It's spelled like Nike, but it's pronounced Nike. And all of her pieces are handmade, they're hand beaded, and they're one of a kind. And this piece speaks to everything that I've learned, everything that I am, and everything that I want to be. And I think that it's when I put it on, I was like, yep, this is Shelby J all day. And I know Prince would approve, because he taught me a lot. And he taught me how to, stand in my truth, as far as I don't need to look like anybody else. I don't need to see what's hot. What are they telling me I should wear? It's like, baby girl, you have to be true to you, and you set the trend. Don't follow, but really speak to your truth. And I went and I saw some fabrics, and then I saw some of her designs, and one particular dress I put it on. I was like, this is it. It was just boom, pow. I was like, Shelby all day. So I'm excited. I'm excited.
So you did speak about some of your time with Prince and some of the lessons that he's taught you,
Yeah.
but can we backtrack a little bit? Tell me a little bit about your time, like before you got to Prince. Like how did you come into being? Because I doubt that Prince just plucked you off the street. You had to already kind of be in your own a little bit when he
Yeah.
found you, right?
Definitely. I have been working and I've been earning my stripes. And he told me, he was like, where have you been? He said that. And I was like, I told him I've been working with everybody. Most notably, the Mary J. Blige's, Anthony Hamilton, Martin Luther, D'Angelo, of course, Voodoo Tour. And that's where Anthony and I toured and did that iconic tour with Voodoo with D'Angelo. And right after that, I was singing with Anthony when he did his solo project. And I had a break from singing with Anthony. And Sandra Manning called me to come and fill in with Larry Graham for like one night. And it was in Vegas at 3121. And Prince was out there and he got to hear me sing, and he liked what he heard. And obviously, and he called me he came on stage that night with us, and we were singing together. And then they called me back to come out to Vegas. And I was like, okay, I'm going back out there. I don't know where this is going, but it was so cool. And it was like a dream. It was just every step of it. Even as I reflect back on it, it's just those things in a dream, like, okay, this happens and this happens. And he's like, I want you to join my band. And I'm like, I got to call Anthony because I was on break. I was still in his band. And he was like, I leave my band to sing with Prince. I was like, okay. So that's how that happened. And we started rehearsing for the Super Bowl shortly after that. This is right at the end of 2006. So it was just, right place, right time, God, and all those things. And it was an energy. We connected. Our energies just really, connected.
Most definitely. And you can even tell, like, I've seen you perform with him before, like you just jived like really, really well, which was one of the best things about, the years that you were featured prominently in his music, whether live or in the studio. Like, I always enjoy listening to those albums, probably more than some of the others, but I'm just saying. So what was like one of your favorite projects that you worked with him, like a particular song, a particular album?
No doubt, Chelsea Rogers, because I had just got with him, and he was finishing up Planet Earth, and there were certain songs that, I'm brand new. So we would only play, I got to tell you a little bit of the story. It's so beautiful. I was just I'm out in LA. My girlfriend Grace is out here. She was around during this time. Mm-hmm. And she came out to Vegas, and we were going to take a trip to the Grand Canyon and do like a Thelma and Louise thing, but not the ending, and go on out there. And then I get a call. We only worked on the weekends at 3121. So during the week, some people, Prince will go back to Minneapolis, people go to LA. I was still at the Rio. That's basically where I moved into from North Carolina to the Rio. And we were playing Scrabble by the pool. I never forget this. And my phone rings, and it's Raul, who is a part of Prince's team at the time. And he says, Prince wants you to come out to LA and do background vocals on the song. And I was like, okay, so I think it was Tuesday. And I said, well, how's like Thursday or something? Because, I've got my friend here and she just flew in. He goes, no, maybe like in 3 or 4 hours, we're just going to fly you. I was like, oh, okay, great. And that was kind of my introduction to how, when he had an idea, he wanted to get things done. And it wasn't, there was a sense of urgency for that. And I was like, wow. And I said, Grace, okay, I'm going to go pack. And I went in, there were no lyrics. And the engineer was there. Prince wasn't there. And he said, let me play the song for you. And he played the song. He's like, Prince is on the phone. And so I'm talking to him, and he goes, I want you to, kind of sing what you hear. And there were no lyrics. So I had to, and there are a lot of lyrics in Chelsea Rogers. It's a lot of words in that song. So I sat for maybe about an hour and did the lyrics line by line, line by line, line by line, you know. And he said, sing the whole thing, sing it like you would sing it. And I'm thinking the whole time I'm going to do, you know, backgrounds of ooh, ah, yeah, yeah, something like that. He's like, no, sing every word. And I did. And then when I heard him play it back, it was the record, and it was the duet. And he said, you know, you're going to love this, and it's us. And I was like, what? Like,
yeah, I was gonna say, because like it was pitched to you as backing vocals, but I'm like, you pretty much ruled that song. Like,
yeah, I mean, that speaks a lot to his generosity, because he didn't have to do that. You know, he didn't have to, as I always say, like put me on Front Street like that. He did not have to do that, but it was just so beautiful. You know, he's like, you know, you work for this, and he would just say little things like that to make me aware that he was aware that I didn't just show up today wanting to sing. You know, he could feel it, he could see it, and when he had the opportunity to feature me or to help me shine, he always did. And you know, he helped me to step into that. You know, because even being a background vocalist with different people, like Prince was the one that had, I mean, he had me, Shelby, you know, just the way he would say my name so many times in the show. I'm like, man, this is beautiful. You know, he brought the same way that we were off stage, on stage, so people could see that. And that I'm like, that's cool. Everybody doesn't do that, you know? So Chelsea Rogers for me is a very special song. And that's that memory of that, and just how he let me shine on that with him. And then I got into really listening to those lyrics, and I'm like, man, brother is so deep. He's so deep.
I mean, most definitely. And let me add as well, if you were to ask me which was my favorite that you've been on, I would have also said Chelsea Rogers.
Yeah.
But that was even without me knowing all of that. Now I love it even more.
Oh, yeah. And it was, you know, and I said, wow. And then we did Future Baby Mama, which was another one. And he let me, he trusted me. He let me basically arrange my background vocals. Like he would, like, who does that? Like I have people that never produce nothing that want to tell me, he'd be like, no, just sing what you hear in your head. Sing what you hear. You know what you hear. Sing what you hear. And he gave me that freedom to layer those vocals and to layer all those parts. And then he would mix it in with his. And I had friends that didn't even know at the time I was singing with Prince, and they heard Future Baby Mama, and they could tell by the way that I had like layered my vocals, like on my earlier stuff. They were like, is that Shelby? Like just they could pick up on that, like from the Black Gypsy stuff and everything. So it was kind of like a signature that I would have with how I would do vocals, and he let me do that on his record. I mean, it's Prince. Come on, man. It's like, really, like, you don't have to do this stuff. And so he just let me be free to create and to take part in his art, which was beautiful. So
I will add that there are a lot of singers and artists out there that can sing, but like it really takes having a specifically kind of unique voice to really kind of stand out. And like you're one of those. And like if I hear it, I'm like, wait, that's Shelby. Wait a minute. So
thank you. I think I respect that with people that I love. Yeah. Like when as soon as Anthony Hamilton comes on, you know it's him. You know when Fantasia comes on, it's her. You know when Prince comes on. If a song comes on and I don't know who it is singing, there's something wrong with that. Like you should have your sound. You know, a Picasso from a Rembrandt. You know, artists should have their lane of not that you can't, you know, grow and mesh, but I should know it's you. You shouldn't all sound, you know, like this is the sound of the month. So we got to all sound like this. It's like, no, whatever I sing, it's going to sound like Shelby, whether it's the Star Spangled Banner or whether it's Moved On, it should sound like me. You should know it's me.
Well, and that's actually one of the cool things about you that I've noticed listening to not only the music that you've released, and we're going to get to that in just a second because I really want to talk about 10 with you. But one of the things that I've noticed is that you're able to kind of not be fit in a box so easily. Like you do like funk and soul and gospel and R&B, like you do all these different things. Like is that just natural to you, or is it like, you know what, I feel like doing some funk today, let's do some funk, or like, you know?
It's real organic. And I say that I've always told people, especially my friends, I can't stand categories. I think one of the worst things that ever happened is when you try to categorize things, then you limit who thinks they should be listening to something, or you're telling them what art they should like, as opposed to what speaks to them and their soul and their spirit. So you got, a sister growing up in the hood that thinks that she's not supposed to want to listen to Shania Twain. Now, a Shania Twain song could speak to her heart and her soul and those melodies, but because somebody's this color and somebody's this color and it has this particular instrument in it, then you're not supposed to listen to that. You're only supposed to listen to this music over here made by people of your same color, of your same bit. And I can't stand the genre thing. So with me, I listened to everything growing up. I absorbed everything growing up. Grew up in the Baptist church. So there's that. My mom, minister of music. My sister was on drums. My other sister, Kim, was singing. Grew up listening, to Mahalia and to Mavis. That's all in here. Could hear country music all around me. That's all in here. My sister was playing Parliament and Funkadelic. She's 10 years my senior. I'm hearing all of this as like a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old. The Barcades, like just absorbing that, my dad playing Otis Redding and Aretha Franklin and just the Doobie Brothers, and just getting it all into me, and it spoke to me. So I would listen to what I wanted to listen to, and I didn't kind of let anybody direct me and direct that part of me. So then when I started to create my own music, I'm like, I'm gonna paint with all the colors in the crayon box. I'm not gonna let nobody tell me I only have to use the orange and the blue and the green. It's like, nope. I'm gonna use all of the colors. And then I might want to just take one color and do one color. Yep. Because with I just, did a gospel song, as you're aware of, and people are like, oh, are you switching to gospel now? It's like, wow, I'm never going to limit myself. And I understand society makes you, they tell you, no, you have to go and then go and then go. But man, I'm an artist and I'm free, and I know who I am more so now than ever, because I'm older and I've been through some things and I've learned some things and I've taken some bumps. So the stuff I'm writing about now and speaking to now is my truth. So it's going to speak to somebody. It might not speak to everybody. Everybody might not like this song or that song, but it's always going to be my truth. I'm always going to do that. So it might have some heavy funk. It might have some slide guitar. I might do a whole thing that's orchestrated with strings where it sounds like Disney, but it's coming from what I feel, and I'm not going to let anybody outside of me tell me how to create. If I feel it, because Prince would do that. He would create and put out even what he wanted to, and not ask, is this cool? What do you think it is? Like before he released something, like if you don't like it, he's not putting it out. It's like, no, because everybody ain't gonna like everything. That's just the world. But you have to be true to yourself, and really stand in that.
Yeah. Well said. I had a very similar, hell yeah. I had a similar upbringing. Like it's good to have upbringings like that. I think definitely.
It's real cool. I'm thankful. I love my mama, Mama J, and my father. He's passed on, but he's with me every day. And Prince loved my parents as well, and he knew how much I love family. And a lot of people are like, did your mom ever meet Prince? I'm like, did she? Mamie J ran up on Prince at 3121 and hugged him so tight. It was like this kind of hug. Who we are. So she wasn't going to be with him any different. She wasn't going to walk up and kneel or what. That's just not who we are. And so once he met my mother, he said, I understand you now even more, which is cool because you come from your mama. So, he met her and he's like, yep, I get you. So
now you mentioned My Truth, which is actually one of the tracks on your album 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I guess that's a great segue for us to shift over into talking a little bit about 10, which I actually I reviewed 10. I think it was over a year ago.
I saw it.
Oh, you did? Oh, no.
Thank you. No, I got some lyrics for you too. I got
awesome.
Yes, I do. Thank you for that. I like honesty. I like people to tell the truth. You're not just like, oh, I love everything. That's not real. It's but you speak to tell people how they can do things better and things that an artist might not think of, or something like that. So I watched it. So
yeah,
thank you.
If you have the lyrics, I know where to put them online, so it'll be prominent and everybody will be able to find them. Send them over. I got you.
Oh, I got you. I sure. I was like, oh yeah, let me make sure of that.
Now I listened to it a bunch. Of course, I had to go back and watch my review to be like, what did I say? But but definitely, I enjoyed the album, and I can tell that like those experiences were like from your soul. Like your singing is so authentic on that album. Is there like possibly, and you don't have, I know all songs are your children, but is there maybe one of those songs that, even now just we're a little bit separated from the album's, official release, which was, in 2017, like, is there one of those songs that speaks to you even now today, like even more?
Wow. I think, Who You Are.
Okay.
Most definitely. And also Day in the Sun, lyrically, as well with Day in the Sun. Who You Are, because, Prince taught me a lot about trusting that, really trusting that and knowing that your strength comes from that. That's you. There's only one you, you're unique. And so go with that and trust it. And everybody might not get it, and that's okay. But that's what he always did. And he didn't care about if society was going to get it at the time. He was, way ahead anyway. But he helped me to realize to really trust that in myself, after earlier, things in my career where, people can teach you to kind of doubt that, like, no, you need to do it more like this, or Shelby, if you do it like this, even though that's not what you're feeling or not where you're going, they're like, no, try this. Just trust in that. And it's so easy to be who you are. It's like, you can be who you are every day. And really knowing that there's power in that and embracing that. So that song speaks to me. I listen to it and I'm like, yes, be yourself. Everybody else is taken. I really, truly mean that. And Day in the Sun speaks to me now even more because of what I'm saying in the song. You have to go through some things in life. You have to have those valleys to really even appreciate the peaks. And Day in the Sun speaks to that with me because this last year, I went through a few valleys. And Day in the Sun truly speaks to me about holding on, staying strong in your faith, and knowing that, ain't no progress without struggle. That's a true lyric. It's like, ain't no progress without struggle. And just telling myself that over and over again and knowing that your day in the sun will come. And now what I'm doing musically and as I'm continuing to grow, it's like, okay, you get through this valley, here we go. Here's the sun. So yeah. I was listening to that last night and it just, it really touched me. And it's me, and I'm just like, it really did. Because I'm like, yeah, Shell. I told Lynn, I said, I'm listening to my own music to remind myself of the things that I know are true. But sometimes we can forget those things, when life, hits you in the head, with a frying pan and just knocks you sideways for a minute. You can forget that, and when I listen to those songs, it helps me remember
What I will say about the album, and just to throw compliments at you for a second here, I would say that Superpower is probably my favorite track on the
Oh yeah,
album.
thank you. Shout out to Phil Lassiter for that. He blessed me with that
Definitely.
one.
Day in the Sun would actually be my second favorite.
Thank
So it's
you.
funny that you mentioned that one as well.
My niece on the beginning of that. Let me just add that. That's my niece Kayla who wrote that piece. Yeah, she wrote that poem, and I was like, "This has got to be part of this song." And she was 16 at the time, and I said, "You have to do this." I have, so I had to give a
No,
shout
no,
out.
no, very cool. I probably it was a question that I had when I was listening to the album just recently. I was like, "Who was that?" My favorite thing about Day in the Sun specifically is I think just the way that you sang it. It felt really deep, and it also felt like you hit. Like you weren't afraid to kind of go up and down and kind of go everywhere with your tones and stuff. Like I really, really dug the way that you delivered that song.
Thank you.
Like the when you do like a my day in the sun, like you weren't afraid to like go up and down. And I butchered it. It's okay, but you know,
You did all right.
I could probably do better, but like I would be too stage frighty for me to sing in front of Shelby J. Like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
And also it speaks to the overwhelming kind of positive message of the album as a whole. It's like there's some sadder tracks on there, but
mhm.
there's a lot of tracks that are like, yeah, some stuff is bad, but it's going to get better, and like this is your time to make that happen. And like I appreciate that from a listener standpoint, because there's a lot of negative music out
Oh
there.
yeah.
I guess my question is like, did you sit down to write kind of a motivational album, or was this just what you were feeling at the time and you needed to like get it out?
Oh, wow. I definitely needed to get it out. My life had gone through a major transition that a lot of people they had no idea that I was going through a divorce at the time, right before that, had no clue. I didn't share it with people. Life happens. And, Prince was very helpful. He said, write your truth. Write what you're feeling, right? I mean, there are lyrics from that album that have tear stains on the sheets. That's real talk from
Oh wow.
going really deep and writing that out. And even though I couldn't record it at the time, I had everything got kind of stopped. There was that moment like, just put this out. The album was coming. What happened? And people didn't know that was going on with that. But he said, you might not feel like singing, but at least write it. Cause I'm like, I can't. I just can't. I can't sing this stuff, right now. But I had it ready so that when I could go and sing those songs like Run, and I could sing those, that I would know the right time that I could record them. And there were other songs that I wrote coming out of that storm. So it's kind of like they're songs that reflect being right in the start of the storm and coming through the storm. And then the songs kind of shift as you're getting your strength, you're coming out of it, you're understanding that life is about chapters, and there are many chapters in your book, and I'm trying, you're coming out of it, you're going through it, getting through it, and coming into another place. And then those lyrics are different from
Yeah.
the lyrics of when you're in it, you dig? So
Yeah.
that you hear those, the it's my times and everything kind of lifting up to boom, moved on to the, So it's cathartic, I think, in a way that it takes you through the valleys of things that people had no idea, like I said, that I was going through, into coming out of it like, you can get through this. And I hope, because I'm not the only woman or man or person that will go through any kind of heartache or
Yeah.
hardship. Also, I just lost my dad, right before, and I was still, that's a major loss. And so there were things that were in me, but you have to face those things and grow through those things. So I'm hoping that when people listen to that music and they see like, Shelby went through this, man, she took some serious hits, some lumps, and this is how she got through it, and I can get through it too. And I want them to feel inspired and uplifted to know, like, I can do this. She did it, I can do it too. Life can be hard and just completely surprise you and knock you silly, but when you hold on to your faith and you look for your strength, you can make it through. You can. You have to find those things that help you make it through. And music is definitely one of those tools.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, what? I mean, even with Prince's music, people talk about it got me through this. I remember going through these trials in my life, and this music was the only thing that brought me through. And that's real. Music is so powerful like that.
Oh man, and that's just part 1. There's a whole bunch more that me and Shelby got to talk about. I hope that you come back for part 2, which will be launching tomorrow. Until then, don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Instagram. They're both at Prince's Friend YT. You can become a patron and support the channel directly at patreon.com/princessfriend. And until next time, may you live to see the dawn.